So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the iPhone 10 versus the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 full comparison. In this video, we're gonna break down these two and see which one is the better choice for you. Is it the iPhone 10 or is it the Note 8? Let's begin by talking about specifications. Okay, guys, so let's begin with the Apple iPhone 10 when it comes to its key specifications. So the standout feature here with this phone is that OLED panel. This is 1125 by 2436 5.8 inch OLED screen manufactured by Samsung, tuned by Apple. Now on the rear of this device, you are going to get yourself a dual 12 megapixel camera as we've been seeing since the iPhone 7 Plus. This one is definitely better. It has a portrait mode that has been upgraded with new features and a telephoto lens. On the front though, you do get a portrait mode for the first time on that camera. Now this is equipped with a 3 GB of RAM, and this also has A11 Bionic chipset with a 2716 milliamp hour battery. This also has Bluetooth 5.0. Now, that's all we really need to talk about in terms of the key specifications for iPhone 10. Let's talk about the Note now. So the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 does offer a 6.3 inch 2K panel that's 1440p by 2960. This is a Super AMOLED panel here, and this does have a 12 megapixel dual camera setup the first time on a Samsung device on the rear here with a fingerprint scanner, and this does do 2160p video recording. The iPhone 10 does 4K at 60 though. This only does 4K at 30. Now this also has 6 gigabytes of RAM with a Snapdragon 835 CPU if you're in North America. If you're in another region, you're likely getting the Exynos 8895. So this phone is definitely loaded with the specifications. Let's talk about their displays now and their display quality differences. Okay guys, so let's talk about their display quality differences. So first of all, the iPhone 10 does feature a bezel kind of around the edges of the phone, and it does give you a little cutout for the true depth sensors. This is called the notch, infamously, or whatever you want to call it. Over here on the Note 8, you do get an edge-to-edge screen, where the apps kind of spill off the edges here, and you just have a small tiny bezel at the bottom and a small tiny bezel up at the top. Whichever design you like better really comes down to your personal preference. Now in terms of the display quality itself, both are manufactured by Samsung. One is tuned by Apple, which is obviously the iPhone. Now, DisplayMate has ranked the iPhone 10 as the best display ever on a smartphone. Pretty credible source. But what I want to say is just don't believe every media source's word for it. Go in the store, check out these two displays, and choose which one is better for you. Even listening to me, I'm a media source to you as well. But when you go into the store, just because a company says, oh, this display is the best ever on a smartphone, don't just go pre-order the phone. I would really recommend you take a look at both of these in the store. The iPhone 10 supposedly gets brighter, but to my eye personally, I don't see that happening. I feel like the Note 8 gets brighter. That's what I see. Maybe it's an illusion because it's a bigger screen. I don't know. Now, the iPhone 10 definitely has a more natural hue. It looks a little bit more, I would say, balanced colors. It's not oversaturated. The Note 8 is also not oversaturated. You can go ahead and tweak the display to be extremely saturated on the Note 8, but you can also tweak it to be very balanced with its basic mode. So the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 here, to me, looks a lot more colorful. So you're really gonna have to decide which phone you like more. Do you like a more balanced look, or do you like a more colorful look? And that's how I would decide which one to get here when it comes to display quality. Now, when it comes to just their, sharpness levels, the Note 8 on paper technically has a sharper, display with its 521-ish, pixels per inch versus 458 pixels per inch. And if you got a good eye, you can see that the Note 8 is a slightly sharper display. However, the way Apple tuned this and tweaked this, you can never really see pixels on the iPhone 10 either. So that's my take on the iPhone 10 versus the Note 8 when it comes to display. It's kind of a draw. There really is no winner here. It really is going to come down to your personal preference on these two. Okay guys, so let's talk about their key software differences. So they're very different when it comes to the software. The iPhone 10 is actually very different from any other iPhone before it, in that you now have to use gestures to go through your multitasking and to kind of just close stuff out. So you got this little swipe gesture for multitasking. A lot of people are going to like this. It's pretty intuitive, but a lot of people are going to dislike it because they're used to a home button on their phone. Now up on the right side, you can see you do have the control center, as well as right here, you do have yourself the notifications tray right there. So basically, it's a learning curve to get used to this. At its core though, it's still iOS. It's gonna run all your core iOS applications. You're gonna have extremely polished apps, especially when developers get all the applications updated for the screen aspect ratio. Right now, not all the applications are updated, and there's gonna be some wasted space at the top and the bottom. And overall though, it's a learning curve here for the iPhone 10. Now, on the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, it's basically Android with a Samsung skin, but that Samsung skin is a big skin that really changes the experience of this phone. This feels nothing like a stock Android device. It's really a Samsung experience. You do have Bixby on board with a Bixby button here on the Note 8. And that's something a lot of people said is unnecessary. I think Bixby is actually okay. It actually learns what you tell it, so it's getting better. It's much better than their first implementation with S Voice. Still, the button needs to be remapped. I think they fixed that in a later update. Over here on the Note 8 though, you do have features everywhere. I mean, we really don't even have time to talk about all these features, but you can see your controls up here are similar to the iPhone 10 where you got to pull it from the top. Now, if you want a productivity oriented phone, there's no better choice than the Note 8. This phone is going to give you all the productivity features you could ever want, especially with this pen. So who is the better software for which person? So if you're a person who loves, great applications, you want stuff to be secure, on point, always getting updated, and you don't really got time to be messing around with a pen on your phone, you just want a really fast, smooth phone, get the iPhone 10 of these two. Now, if you're a business-oriented user and you want to write stuff down, you're using Google Sheets, you're using Microsoft Excel, you're doing a lot of business-based stuff on your phone, look no further than the Note 8. Also, if you're a user who wants a bigger screen to play games and stuff like that, look no further than the Note 8. It's the better option here. However, this really comes down to personal preference. iOS and Android are very different at their core, but personally, I find them pretty equal. They really just depend on what you're doing with these phones. Okay guys, so let's talk about the security differences between these phones. This is a huge one here in 2017 due to the fact that you now have Face ID on the iPhone 10, which doesn't always work. Let me try to get it unlocked here. So you can see it doesn't always work. It does have to be exactly looking at your face, and there it goes. So I find that, if you look at the iPhone 10 on this angle, it doesn't pick you up. You actually have to look directly at the phone here itself. But that Face ID definitely works better than Samsung's iris scanner, in my opinion here. I've used them both pretty heavily. You just have to be a little bit more accurate with the Samsung scanner here. But what I do like about the Note 8 is that it has a fingerprint scanner. Now, everybody wants to knock this fingerprint scanner for being up at the top right, but hey, think about this. You have options on the Note 8. You can put a passcode, you can use iris scanner, face unlock, also fingerprint scanner. I mean, there's like a million ways you can choose for yourself to unlock the Note 8. With the iPhone 10, it's basically two ways, a face unlock, or you do have your passcode. So the Face Unlock ID feature is going to get better over time. Banks are already starting to support it. Chase already supports it. PayPal will probably support it going soon. And more applications will support it in the future. So I'm not worried about that. But at the same time, if you want a more fluid unlocking feature with facial recognition, get the iPhone 10. If you want more options to secure your phone, get the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Now, in terms of their actual security, which one is more secure? They're about the same. I would say with the Knox feature, with the encryption you could do on the iPhone or on the Note 8, you can get as secure as the iPhone 10. Apple's pushing out a ton of updates always, so this gives you a high level of security as well. So these are both pretty secure phones. Just don't download stuff that you would think, might cause something on your phone. So both of these phones did push one little feature, a piece that kind of, some people consider a cute, neat feature. Some people will consider a gimmick. Let's talk about both of them. Starting with the iPhone 10, we all know it. It's the Animoji feature. So down here, you can click the App Store right there, and you'll see these Animojis. So basically what these do is they watch your face with the true depth sensor, and they will record what you say, and you could send off an Animoji that really does look, like you're talking through the emoji. So it's a pretty cool, neat little feature. Some people are going to call it gimmicky. I found it to be funny from time to time. I think this is something that's going to get old fast and people are going to forget about, and they're just going to enjoy the iPhone 10 for its all screen design. But when you're first selling this phone at the store, that is a neat feature to try to draw people into the purchase of an iPhone 10. So I don't blame them there. I just wish they would bring that to the other iPhones. It's not something I think that requires, more than like an A9 CPU. So over here on the iPhone or on the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, you do have the live message feature. So this is a feature they pushed with the Note 8. It's another feature like where they're gonna market it to you and try to get you to buy this phone based on it. And you can see you can make little live messages that kind of sparkle and stuff like that. Hey there. And then they turn into GIFs, and you can actually send these to anybody, whether it's an iPhone user, a Samsung user, it doesn't matter. And that's a cool little neat feature you can do with the S Pen. Also, there was one more that Samsung pushed here with the Note 8, and that's the app pair. So you pull it off to the side, and you have two applications that you can pair together here, and automatically goes into multitasking mode. So that's a pretty cool, neat feature for the Note 8. I think it's more useful than Animoji. However, Animoji might have the fun factor over those features that came with the Note 8. It really comes down to what you like. To me, those features are both going to be forgotten after a little bit, but I just wanted to mention those are two little features that are included with both phones. So let's talk about the iPhone 10 versus Note 8 when it comes to performance. So A11 Bionic chipset, monster Geekbench scores. The iPhone 10 is the clear winner here when it comes to raw performance on paper, technicality. It's faster than the Note 8. Note 8 gives you 6 gigs of RAM, but the Android ecosystem tends to use up pretty much any RAM you could throw at it. So you put 8 gigs of RAM in the Android device, it's going to use most of those 8 gigs of RAM. Whereas the iPhone 10 is a very optimized phone. Pretty much all iOS devices are pretty optimized like that. They don't require a ton of RAM. So in terms of raw horsepower, if you want the fastest phone here, just get the iPhone 10, you'll be happier. However, the Note 8 is almost at the same level. So what I mean by that is if you're using these two phones day to day in terms of performance, you're not really going to see a big difference until you start, downloading games and playing games. It might be a little faster to open on the iPhone 10. You do some video rendering, 4K 60, it's going to rip through it. That's what you're really going to come down to seeing the differences. And when you're doing heavy stuff, multitasking with a ton of applications open, this might lag from time to time. This probably is not going to lag. So overall, at the end of the day, both are extreme powerhouse phones. I don't think most people are going to experience any lag with the Note 8, but there's more of a chance that it will slow down over time than the iPhone 10. So the iPhone 10, in terms of sheer long-term reliability and performance, is the winner here, but not by so much that I think it matters too much, because I think people who are on the market to buy these two phones literally are not going to keep their phones 5 years. They'll probably upgrade before they even become laggy. So let's talk about those cameras on both of these phones. I'm going to begin with the iPhone 10 here. This is an area where people buy the phone. Basically, this is the only reason they buy phones sometimes, is because they want a better camera, not realizing there's better point and shoots and standalone DSLRs on the market, but DSLRs, not DSRs, but on the market. So going into the Samsung micro SD card, I'm using this as an example to take a picture here. The photos on the iPhone 10 are nothing short of amazing for a smartphone. I mean, look at the quality you're going to get here for the iPhone 10. However, it doesn't feel like it's such a huge upgrade due to the fact that I've used the 7 Plus, I've used the 8 Plus. It's not that much better than those cameras. However, the portrait mode is better. So the portrait mode here on the iPhone 10 gives you all these modes where you can take, extremely awesome creative pictures of people and stuff like that. Square mode pano. And nothing else is really different besides the fact you get 4K 60. Now, the iPhone 10 also does have the portrait mode on the front, which is a really neat feature, and I'm very happy to see that here, because if you've been using the 7 Plus or you've been using the 8 Plus here for the iPhone in the past, you haven't been able to go ahead and take a portrait of yourself because there's no one there with you to take that portrait. So I like that it has a portrait on the front camera. That is really awesome here, and it does give you the same features on the iPhone 10. So that's basically the gist of the iPhone 10. It's going to give you extremely sharp video, much smoother than the Note 8 when it comes to stabilization. So you might want to pick this up if you're a videographer. If you're a photographer, though, we got to discuss the differences. Natural looking photos here for the iPhone 10. Over on the Note 8, we do get, I would say, punchier pictures. So let me go ahead and open this camera. We got app pair rocking out right now. Let me close that out. This camera here on the Note 8 is just super vibrant, and it's a picture that you look at when you first shoot it and you're like, damn, that's a nice picture. Whereas the iPhone 10, you're like, I love this photo, but I'm going to go ahead and tweak it in my photo editor app. So I find the Note 8 personally to be a more fun camera to use when it comes to just shooting a shot and going to upload it. The iPhone 10, I find to be a better camera if I want to go ahead and make like a little movie or a little video, YouTube video. I'm going to take the iPhone 10 out because the iPhone 10 is going to give me a more cinematic look. It's going to give me a more, professional look. But the Note 8, it's going to be pretty fantastic as well. You get portrait mode on here on this phone as well, and you do get live focus, which allows you to change the focus blur in the background manually. Zoom functionality is about equal on both of these. 4K video better on the iPhone 10. At the end of the day, if you buy either one of these cameras, you're going to be extremely happy. It's closer than ever. I think the slight edge goes to the iPhone 10 technically, but I think most consumers are going to like the pictures that come out of the Note 8 better on first glance. So battery life on both these phones, I'm not going to talk too long here about this one. There's a clear winner. It's the Note 8 on the battery life. It just lasts longer than the iPhone 10. Because the iPhone 10 has a smaller battery at 2700 milliamp hours. It's like 2716, whatever. I was close enough. The Note 8 does give you a 3300 milliamp hour. And in actual use time, the Note 8 easily surpasses the iPhone 10 in its battery life department. Now in standby, the Note 8 will suck a little more juice than the iPhone 10. So pick up the Note 8 if you want the best battery life between these two. Pick up the iPhone 10 if you want great standby battery life between these two. So let's discuss the audio differences between iPhone 10 and Samsung Note 8. So iPhone 10, right out the gate, it's a clear win when it comes to audio because it has a front-facing speaker, and it also sounds a little bit better than the Note 8 when it comes to clarity. So I do think if you're looking for audio off the phone itself, this is the phone to get, the iPhone 10 between these two right here. Let me play a little video, and you could just hear it. If I cover the bottom speaker, you can still hear it. Cover the top speaker, you can still hear it. This is a fantastic phone for audio quality that comes out the speakers. And I think Apple's doing this because they're trying to make up for the fact there's no headphone jack on this phone. You do have to use Lightning port. You know, a lot of people are saying this is getting ridiculous. I don't care about that argument no more. No one cares. We got Bluetooth headphones. Not true. You know, if you're an audio professional, you know, I actually use Audio-Technica headphones, M40Xs that actually use headphone jack, and they got two different 3.5 millimeter headset jacks, a flat cable and a coil cable, and I cannot even put it in this guy, you know, without getting a lightning dongle, which does have a nice little DAC in it, but at the same time, those dongles are easy to lose. I've lost 1 million of them already, and I think I got one left right here, and this little dongle right here for the iPhone 10. So the headphone jack to me is still a deal with smartphones right now. It might not be in the future, but the Note 8 trades you a headphone jack for a little bit worse speaker placement and worse audio quality overall. So let's go ahead and play a video on the Note 8. Now the Note 8 doesn't have horrible speakers, but I just don't think they're better than the, you know, the speakers on the iPhone 10. So let me just play Pocket Now video, for example, and let's just hear the ad. You can hear. Let me cover this up. So you see, I just covered it up, no problem. I actually closed the application. Hi, May Rivera. You see, it's just easy to cover things up right there on the Note 8. So the audio quality better on the speakers, and audio quality I think better because you have a headphone jack on the Note 8. So you got to choose between speakers on the phone, headphone listener. That's how you choose between these two. Personally, me, I'm a headphone listener, so I choose the Note 8. I don't really like people hearing what I'm listening to, so I wouldn't choose the 10 when it comes to this regard. Okay, I don't want to discuss too long about gaming. We already know what gaming phone is on the minds of people right now. That's the Razer phone. But gaming here on both of these is going to be fun. So let's just put it that way. But right now, I think it's funner on the Note 8 because not all games are optimized for the display. For the iPhone 10, you can see right there, look at those black bars. Over here on the Note 8, Android just stretches the app out for you, and bang. Look at that experience on the Note 8. It's a full screen experience for the Note 8. On the iPhone 10, there's black bars. However, I do think that the iPhone 10 runs games more efficiently. So in the long term, I still have to call the iPhone 10 the winner because game developers are going to update their apps to stretch the screen, and it has AR capabilities on here as well with that A11 Bionic. So for pure gamers, just get the iPhone 10. It's going to run a little bit better than the Note 8. But if you want to have fun and you don't care, you just play casual games from time to time, the Note 8 is going to impress with that infinity display and how it displays those games in such a large format. It's very immersive on the Note 8, and you can get the VR headset, which can be very immersive as well. So let's talk about the calling experience between both of these. I'm just going to be direct with you here. The iPhone 10 doesn't get better reception in my experience than my Note 8. Now, the iPhone 10 is a better phone for speakerphone quality because it's got dual speakers. It just sounds better when you're talking through your speakerphone. So pick this one up if you want to use a speakerphone and you want a more compact phone to your face. You're going to enjoy the phone calling experience on iPhone 10. Pick up the Note 8 if you want a deeper, richer sound through the earpiece. So if you just talk up to your phone, you're gonna wanna pick up the Note 8. And also you can use the S Pen to write down numbers and stuff like that. If somebody's talking to you and they're like, write this number down, this is the phone you want right here, because you can be on a phone call and it could be like, write this number down. You pull out your pen, you just hit create note, and you just start writing the number down while they're talking to you. So this can be very useful. In addition to that, the Note 8 likes to punch up the volume. It has a feature that can punch up the volume during your phone call. Also, one neat feature with the Note 8 is you can swipe to call people in the contacts. You can just swipe over to call people. I like that as well, but it really comes down to that. If you want speakerphone, get the iPhone 10. If you want, a feature-rich phone calling experience, it just has more features, get the Note 8. So I cannot make this review by just taking not a second to talk about the S Pen benefits. So you got basically a whole different software built into your Note 8 here with the S Pen software, which allows you to get really productive with your phone here. You can cut out pictures, make GIFs, stuff like that, just with the S Pen here. It also works as a surrogate mouse. You can hover over pictures, things like that. When your hand gets tired, you can use the pen as a pointer device. This is a definite win for the Note 8. There really is no feature like that on the iPhone 10. So if you're looking for a phone for multitasking and productivity, you cannot overlook the Note 8. There's pretty much no phone that can match this on the market at the premium level. Now there is like the LG Stylo, but nobody wants that when they're looking at these two phones right here. So just skip the iPhone 10 altogether. If you want to use a pen, you're not going to get it on that phone. Okay guys, so I want to talk about some miscellaneous stuff. IP67 on the iPhone 10, IP68 on the Galaxy Note 8. What does that mean? Water resistance on the iPhone 10, which means that it's not waterproof. Waterproof on the Galaxy Note 8. So this phone is definitely surviving longer in water than the iPhone 10. I'm just shocked that $1,000 Apple didn't include that in their phone, whereas even the cheapest Samsung had this feature. So right now you can get an S7 that has IP68. That's an S7 from last year, and they still don't have it on Apple. Now, some people are going to argue me and say, that doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't get my phone wet. And if you're a person who's careful with your technology and you don't get your phone wet, I understand your point of view. But when you have a competitor that is making a phone that's less money and giving you a much more secure lifestyle feature, such as, not getting your phone damaged by water, it just doesn't make sense to me. So that's what I want to point out there. The iPhone 10 gives you a 3D touch interface where you don't get that on the Note 8. Now, 3D touch has been around since the 6S. It's been around for a while. You do get a 3D touch home button here for a Note 8, so that's a nice touch, but the whole operating system is not 3D touch. So that's a win for the iPhone 10. And also, always on display comes with the Note 8. You don't get always on display. I don't have it enabled, but it's basically an always on display. And you can also write notes on the always on display here for the Note 8. So there are some miscellaneous features. The Note 8 is a more feature-packed phone overall though. Okay guys, so here we are at the end of this video. What is the final verdict? Which is the better phone, iPhone 10 or Samsung Note 8? So I want to talk about one thing that kind of has been annoying me about these two phones. Everyone's saying this word expensive. These phones are expensive. A lot of mainstream media outlets like to generalize this. This is actually a relative term. If you manage your finances, if you work, if you do your thing, if you take care of your money game, these are not expensive to you. These are only expensive to you if you have that mindset that is, I can't buy this, I can't. Have the I can, have the I have the I will attitude, and you will get these phones in your life. I want to just give you that little inspiration right there. Second of all, if you want an iPhone that is, radically different from the iPhones before it, the iPhone 10 is going to be the phone for you. You're really going to like this. If you want a more simpler phone and a more updated phone over the long term, maybe slightly more secure when it comes to security, you're going to want the iPhone 10. If you're a creative person who likes to draw, who likes to take notes, I think the Note 8 is definitely going to be for you. In terms of their cameras, natural photos on the iPhone 10, I think instantly shareable photos on the Note 8. They just look a little bit more colorful right out the gate when you first snap them. This is going to be a better photo taker for people who like to edit their photos, tweak them in Photoshop and stuff like that. Now, better value for the dollar, that's a different story here. The Note 8 definitely at less money does give you more for the money. So you get way more features for less money. Now, that is a truth right there that I have to share with you. In terms of their screen quality, both are pretty equal. I think if you buy either one, you're going to be extremely happy. But it really comes down to this. Buy the iPhone if you want something that is unique, radically different, and you want to use Apple's ecosystem. Buy the Note 8 if you're creative, maybe you're a business user, and you don't care about the Apple ecosystem. Get the Note 8. It's gonna really impress you, and it's gonna have features you're gonna be discovering over the use of this phone. It will get updated to Oreo, and that's gonna be good enough for an entire year. It will last a long time. The Note 8's fantastic smartphone. So the clear winner here is neither. It really comes down to those choices that I just talked about earlier. You should know which one you want based on those. So personally, the one I would choose personally, if I had only one choice between these two, would be the Note 8. But that's just me because I'm a creative person and I like to use the pen for a lot of stuff, and I get a bigger screen for less money. And I also get a camera that has shots that I really enjoy because they're instantly shareable. And these I have to edit a little bit, I think, to have them looking the way I want them to look. So also Samsung Pay, I didn't talk about that as well. I want to wrap that up with this one. It works in more places than Apple Pay right now. In addition to that, the multiple security options, I do like having a fingerprint scanner on my phone. Anyway, that wraps it up here for me. Full comparison of iPhone 10, Note 8. You can't go wrong either way. You're going to be a happy camper no matter which one you get. You got to pay to play with these boys. They're the premium top tier smartphones. Anyway, any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, drop it down below in the comments section. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and if you got some time, visit www.nickackermanchannel.com. You can reach out to me there. I will catch you all on the next one. Be sure to be well, and peace.